So my name is Wendy Fringer. It's great to see all of you. I'm the Associate Director of Pre-College Programs. We work with little kids in elementary school all the way up to incoming freshmen. And that's you, right, with JumpStart. I have a special fondness for JumpStart because when I started my whole career in academia, I taught freshmen. I taught freshmen for many, many years. I taught the composition classes that I'm sure you're all just dying to get into. You can't wait. Everybody loves those, but I loved teaching them. I also worked in writing center work, and gradually in my career, I've moved more towards college preparation and persistence, helping people get to college and then make sure they're successful when they get here. So that's who I am and a little background on me. I'm also going to introduce another staff member we have here with us tonight, Matthew DeLoach. Matthew, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Hey everyone, Matthew DeLoach here. A lot of you probably know me from all the emails that you've received so far from JumpStart. I'm originally from the Carrollton, Mississippi area. I came here to Ole Miss, got my undergrad and master's here, so they decided to keep me on. I've worked with JumpStart students since summer 2014, so I have a lot of experience working with JumpStart students, getting to see where they come from and where they've gone. So I've seen a couple of classes graduate at this point. So it'll be exciting to get to know you this summer and see where your college journey takes you.
Yeah, JumpStart is only the beginning for a lot of students with us. Many of our JumpStart students later come back and work for us in some form or other because we hire a ton of students every year. We offer scholarships, all kinds of opportunities. So definitely get to know us a little bit and stay in touch if you feel like it. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about what JumpStart is. We're going to explain the expectations of JumpStart. We're going to explain the mechanical stuff, hopefully answer some of the questions you have on your mind, things that maybe all those wonderful emails that Matthew sent you didn't quite get to, because this is now, it's real, it's nitty gritty. We've got real questions on our minds. So I'm going to get started with all of that. If you have questions while I'm going, don't hesitate to just throw it in the chat. Matthew will be monitoring the chat and he'll be happy to answer your questions, or if he can't answer them, to make sure that he and I look into getting you those answers afterwards. Okay. So again, go ahead and put your names on if you're comfortable doing that. You can add your pronouns as well. That's always nice to know how to call people. And I'm going to share my screen so that we can get started here. Move it over here where I can see it. All right. So tonight, as I said, we're going to go over a bunch of things that I hope are on your mind. We're going to offer a program overview. We're going to talk about what it means to participate in JumpStart. What are your responsibilities as a JumpStart student? And we'll talk about what's next. What are the next things you're going to experience as a JumpStart student as you're arriving here? So first, we'll just start about thinking about what is JumpStart. There's a lot of university programs that have combo names. Another program we run is Star Talk. There's also Fast Track. There's just a lot of that kind of thing. People get them all confused. So it's important to understand which program it is that you've signed up for. Hopefully you're all in the right place. JumpStart has been around probably about 20 years now. It's been around a very long time. It falls into the category of college programs as a bridge program, summer bridge programs. And so it's really designed to address all aspects of students' transitions as they enter the university as freshmen. So first of all, it addresses social transitions, right? You're learning to live on your own. You're learning to mingle with people from all over the world. You're learning to live outside of your home community, and we do that in a few different ways. In JumpStart, we have community groups. So everyone here will be assigned to a smaller group that's not just all, whatever it is, 33 or so people we have in this first session of JumpStart. It'll be smaller groups of maybe 10 students, 7 students, where you'll meet twice a week. And that'll allow you to get to know those folks a little bit better. It also means that when you go, if you decide to go for ice cream or something together, we're not flooding the creamery with 30 people all at once. Not that they mind, but it's a nice, manageable amount of people. Will you get to know other people in JumpStart? Probably. You're going to see a lot of them in your classes and stuff, and we hope you will. But at least that smaller group you will get to know well, because you'll meet with them twice a week in your community. You'll also have peer leaders in JumpStart. These are undergraduates who are a little further along in their careers than you are. So like mostly juniors and seniors, some sophomores. And so they're there to facilitate those community groups, to make sure that, you know, there aren't too many awkward silences, and to facilitate conversations. We'll talk a little bit about what that looks like, to come up with fun things to do. So like your community meetings twice a week, you have to go to those. But sometimes the JumpStart peer leaders will say, let's all go up to Sardis Lake and we'll have a bonfire and, you know, throw frisbee, whatever, cook some hot dogs. They may organize social events. They'll ask you, want to go bowling, that kind of thing. So they do a lot of different things, and they are great resources. They are leaders on campus. They're involved in all kinds of things. So if you have questions for them about, you know, how do I get involved? What's associated student government, body government like? What are some of the key organizations on campus that I should know about and be familiar with? Which classes, which professors should I be thinking, you know, aware of? And they do all that kind of stuff. So they're wonderful mentors, is what I'm telling you. And I hope you'll take advantage of that. We also talk explicitly in some of our JumpStart workshops about adulting and what that takes. And then we also introduce you to some of the resources on campus, some of the organizations on campus that you may want to encounter. You'll go more deeply into some of these things in your EDHE classes if you take those, and I highly recommend you do. But we're just giving you kind of the just brief intro, little survey in JumpStart in the summer to get you started. It's also about academic transitions. In JumpStart, you're only taking 2 classes. Some of you are only taking 1 because you're in the flagship programs. So you have time to concentrate, and you don't have all these different schedules, all these different syllabi to juggle. It's intense. The classes do go faster, but you can focus, and that's a benefit to JumpStart students. They tend to be small classes because it's summer. In our workshop sessions, again, we will talk a little bit about how to learn and how to study in college, because it may be different from what you've done. A lot of you in JumpStart are here because you've always been great students and you just want to get a jump on the next, whatever's next, right, for you. But that also means a lot of times when you're a great student, you haven't really developed your study skills because you haven't had to. And JumpStart will talk a little bit about what that takes, so that when you do hit that challenge, wherever it is, whether it's this year or next year, you know a little bit about how to meet that challenge. And finally, we can offer academic support. We can connect you to tutoring resources, and our peer leaders are also really wonderful students. So it could be that they can tutor you as well. It just depends on the subject and your comfort level in asking them whether you'd rather go to a tutoring center on campus. Of course, it's also about getting those credits. JumpStart students like to get those credits over the summer so they don't have to take such a heavy load in the school year. That's an advantage. Some of you may want to rush in the fall, for example. So you may want a slightly lighter load because you know that you're going to be very busy. I don't recommend that you sacrifice your classes in order to rush. You shouldn't do that. But sometimes JumpStart helps students compensate a little bit for that. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing classes with us, you're doing 5 or 6 credits in June or July. 5 is for our flagship students. So you're taking a full course load in each of those sessions, whichever one you're in. You guys should all be June. And then you're taking, if you're in August, 3 credit hours in August. That's what we consider a full load for August. Do not take more. That is a 2-week session. You don't want more than 1 class to juggle. And I say all of this because some of you are in multiple sessions, and it may be helpful to know kind of how they all stack up to each other. As I said before, it's about the holistic transition into college. It is not just taking classes. If you just want to take classes, then you can drop out of JumpStart and go ahead and just take the classes that you're registered for. That's perfectly fine. JumpStart is a different program, okay? It comes with more around it. So when you sign on to JumpStart, you're committing really to attending workshops twice a week. Normally, these workshops are something that we do in person. We have a big lecture hall. I'll have a guest presenter, or I'll do something, and it'll be like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of presentation and interaction. And then because we're usually so big, June is smaller, it's like 30, but in July and August, it's like 70 to 100 students. Usually what we'll do is then we'll transition into smaller breakout sessions and talk in small groups. This year, because the university had social distancing requirements in place when we started planning, and really until just recently, we still have them. They're just not as distant as they were. We had to think differently because we need big spaces usually to do this, and it's really hard to find a big space right now on campus that's free. And we didn't want to impose upon you either. You all have complicated class schedules, and it can be difficult to commit to these workshops. So we're trying something a little different this year. They will be run asynchronously. So that means you'll have a video to watch, and then you'll have some questions to answer, showing us that you attended, but you can do it on your own time. It'll usually take about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, just like the original workshops. And then what happens is you will go to your community time with your peer leaders, and you'll discuss those workshops. Part of the time anyway will be discussion, right? So maybe you've had a workshop about brains and what we know about memory. And so you'll have learned a little bit about memory. You'll have learned about some study practices that you could use to apply what we know from psychology about memory. Then you would go to community and you would discuss that. What is, how would I do this? How does this look in person? You might even do a little modified experiment to experience and notice your own brain and how it works. That's one we often run. Another thing you might do is you might watch like a TED Talk about conflict resolution. And then you might go to your community time and talk about roommates and getting along with roommates. That's a big, big thing for people. One of the hardest parts about transitioning to college is just learning how to get along with other people in a different environment with different expectations, different personalities. Everybody's coming from somewhere different. So that's something you might do. So that's how the workshops and the community times work together. We'll ask you to make new habits. We won't force you, obviously, we can't make you, but we're going to talk a little bit about time management and some of the things that we recommend you do in JumpStart. You will learn about campus. In fact, that first night that you're here, I recommend that when the peer leaders offer, would you like me to show you where your classes are going to be? You go with them so they can show you the buildings where you're going to be taking classes, and you're not running around early in the morning on June 1st going, where am I supposed to be? And of course, it's a scholarship. A lot of students really love the scholarship piece, right? That's a huge deal. And we get that. You can see the amount here is posted. This scholarship is the same amount whether you're in state or out of state, just a flat amount. And it's a gift to you from the university. It comes directly from like the provost's office. And the reason the university does this, and they have done this for many, many years, is because they know that JumpStart students are more likely to succeed. They're more likely to have higher GPAs in the spring compared to the rest of the freshman cohort. They improve against themselves at a higher rate. They also persist into their junior year at a higher rate. So this is all data that we've collected over the years. And these are good reasons for us as a university to say, you know what, the scholarships cost a lot, but it's worth it because it benefits students so much. All right, so I mentioned a little bit the workshops. I'm just going to briefly touch on here the two basic categories and themes. We have brain training, which is always about studying, about how your brain works, about learning, and also about mental health wellness. We'll have our counseling center present, and they're always really good about being practical and thinking about, what can you do to take care of yourself as a freshman as you face different stresses in your life, that kind of thing. Time management is also part of our brain training because a lot of time management comes down to procrastination. And whether you realize this or not, procrastination is not really so much about motivation. It is about motivation, but it's not as much. A lot of managing your procrastination comes down to managing your emotions. Okay. And so we'll talk about your brain and your emotions and how you can be better at not procrastinating. I'm still learning that myself, but I get better all the time. All right. Adulting 101. A lot of these types of workshops are really about you reflecting. Everybody's arriving here at different stages of their development, with different understandings of what it means to be an adult. So really these sessions are geared at helping you think about who you want to be as an adult as a college student, make you aware of the models that have influenced you, the stories and narratives that you're bringing in, the expectations that you have for what your life is going to be like here as a college student, and help you kind of hold those up to the light a little bit and inspect them and reflect on them and think about, is this what I want? Is there a better way to do this? So we'll talk about those kinds of things, and we'll touch on things about financial planning and that stuff too. All right, so your responsibilities. You've heard about what we're going to do for you. Responsibilities. That scholarship is an investment in you, right? That the university is making. It's not just something we just throw out there and go, oh, great, cool, scholarship. It's gone now. You have to qualify for it. You have to remain registered for full credit hours. And I've got those numbers up here, 5 or 6 hours in June or July, 3 in August, right? If you drop a class, you're no longer a JumpStart student. You can let us know, we'll check, but we would appreciate knowing because it's easier for us. And we can take the scholarship, that's fine, it's not a problem. But we just want you to recognize that there's a difference. You can't just drop a class because you're like, nah, I don't really like astronomy. There's a consequence for that if you decide to do it. You need to attend class and complete the required work in your classes. And we say that because sometimes we've had students say, you know, you look at their grades at the end of the semester and they've got like a D, and we're like, what happened? And come to find out they didn't go to class. Well, you don't get a scholarship and a free shot at getting a D. You know, if you try and you earned that D, that's different. But if you're just not bothering, nope, not a good investment, right? It's kind of Shark Tank. All right, so, but that's easy. You can all do those things. And then just attend your community time and be attentive to those workshop sessions. And I'll explain about timing of those, how you get information on those in just a moment. If you're starting to wonder like, wait, I don't want to miss any of this, I'll explain in just a second. So next steps, right? First off, make sure you've done the things you need to do to be ready for JumpStart. Have you chosen a meal plan? You're going to need one, right? This summer, I assume you're going to want to eat. The university has meal plan information for you. They have an option. Have you registered for your summer classes? I assume you're all here because you have done that. You've been to orientation. You've registered for your classes with your advisor. If not, you must be in one of the sessions this week and you're about to do it. So that'll be okay. Have you gotten your ID? If you don't have your university student ID, you're not going to be able to get into your housing. You're not going to be able to access your meal plan. You might not be able to swipe into class. You might not be able to go work out at the Turner Center. So you really need that ID. I am sure a lot of you have taken care of it at orientation. Some of you may not have done it yet. And so when you get here, go to your classes that first day. At move-in, they'll have a little card you can use temporarily, but you're going to want to go over to the ID center June 1st and get that taken care of. Hopefully you've done it, but if not, make that a priority. You're going to need a parking permit if you have a car on campus. You can do that through university parking. It's just over at the South Campus Rec Center. And if you need information, I'm pointing like it's there. It's not there. I'm not pointing the right direction, but if you need help getting there, we can tell you how to get there. Order your books. You should be able to go into My Ole Miss and you can look at your courses, and there's even a handy website that we can send you if you don't know it, but you can look up your textbooks on and see where they are, you know, what's required, and then order them because your professors are going to expect you to have them that first week of class, especially because we move so fast in summer sessions. You really want to hit the ground running. You don't want to be like, oh, I'll have it in 10 days. That's almost halfway through the semester. Not going to work. Okay. You're going to want to pack your linens for your bed. You're going to have on campus, we have extra long beds. Bring your towels, all that kind of stuff. Just so you know, many of you already know this, we've communicated this in email. If you're in June and July sessions, you will be housed in, I think it's RH2 this year. So you will not be in the same housing you'll have in fall. It's separate. And that's just because we do a lot of renovation. We have a lot of other groups coming through campus, so we like to condense. And it's actually much nicer because then you're going to see all these same people from JumpStart there in the hall. All right, you're not going to be alone on your floor going, where is everybody? In August, if you've registered for August, you will move into your hall for fall. It might be a little lonely and quiet at first, but the nice part is you only have to do that one move in August, not two. Stockard Hall may be done. They're telling us it'll be done in time for fall students to move in, even for August intersession, but I'm crossing my fingers. You never know whenever you're doing a project like that. So Monday, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get to housing. They have sent you directions on what you're supposed to do. So they've communicated that. That doesn't come through us. So if you are confused, you'll want to contact housing to ask questions, clarifying what you need to do at move-in. But you'll go to them, and we're going to have a table set up at RH2 with some JumpStart counselors there. So if you're, looking for somebody to talk to, or you're just like, I have a question and nobody around seems to know the answer, you can stop and ask our peer leaders. They will be more than happy to answer your questions. They're also there so that when it's time to go to dinner, if you want someone to walk you to the Residential College South, you can just walk in a big group with them and they'll show you the way, so you're not lost and late for dinner. We're having South Depot that night, and I recommend you get there on time because the queso dip goes very fast. I tried to order lots, but it still goes very fast. So what we'll do at the RC South, we have a dining hall there. You'll join us. We'll have this nice kind of leisurely dinner, and then you'll get into your communities. At that point, the peer leaders will sit down. They've got your names on a list, and they'll say, okay, let's all get to know each other. Also, these are the times that we would like to meet during the week. Does that work for everybody? And if you're like, no, I got class, well, then we'll work something out. Your groups are small enough that you should be able to find times that work for everybody. So you can meet twice a week with your peer leaders. As I said, they'll probably also offer to show you around campus, show you where your classes are if you want. And then from there, in order to stay connected to JumpStart, you will use the GroupMe that your peer leader set up, and you'll also want to keep an eye on your Ole Miss email. That is where I am going to email you every single week 2 links to go for your workshops, okay? And these are going to be like I said, it's going to be like a video, and you answer questions while you're watching it, using Edpuzzle if you've used that. So keep an eye on your email for those critical communications. The other really important part about email that you're going to want to know about is your scholarship information is going to go through there. We're going to show you how to apply for your summer financial aid. It's really a formality. You've already got it, but you have to go ahead and complete some stuff, basically saying, I'm ready for money in my Ole Miss. We'll show you how to do that so you do it right. And then once everyone's done that, we can upload the scholarships and you'll see them post to your account. So if you've looked at your Bursar account and you've been freaked out by the number and you're like, where's my scholarship? It's coming. We just have to do these steps first, and we like to guide you through them so that you don't have any problems with getting that scholarship into your account and applied. You're not going to be charged a late fee because we'll have you done in time. Don't worry. Just a few things. JumpStart, like I said, it's more than classes. And I told you what the data has shown us when we've studied it, just a little bit of that. But these are the things actual students say about JumpStart. These actually are quotes from students who had JumpStart and then had to kind of get through their freshman year that ended with a pandemic. So these are students who started and then in spring suddenly had to go home, take classes virtually. It was a big mess, right, for them. And what was really interesting is they dramatically outperformed their peers on a number of levels. And these are the kinds of things they said to explain it. They adapted, they balanced, and they were able to manage change better because they were better prepared. They knew about mental health support on campus when they needed it. They knew exactly what to do to get a hold of it. And they felt like they connected to their peers. And so they had, a sense of belonging already, whereas some of their peers who came in the fall felt a little bit more lost at first, which is normal. All right, so that's enough of me talking. I like to end these in time so that we have plenty of time for questions. Hopefully some of your questions were answered here, but what would you like to know? What have I not answered that you would still like to discuss? I know that's a lot of info fast. One of the things that I'm most disappointed about is I really love the workshops live with you guys. I love seeing you in person. and chatting with you and getting to know you. Because a lot of times, like I said, we will end up hiring JumpStart students later, or I'll see you on campus. I'll see you in my EDG class and I already know you and we can chat. Um, but it's going to be a little harder on me this year to not see you guys. Probably be easier on you though. You probably prefer it this way. Okay, so we've got some questions. Let's see. Move in on Monday. I believe housing said 3, but check your email on that. Am I right, Matthew?
Yeah, I just checked the email that Claire sent us a copy of. It says 3 o'clock is when move-in will start.
Right. Let's see. I applied for a meal plan. If you applied for your meal plan, then you should have it. One thing you could do is probably, I don't know. I'm trying to think how I would check that. Matthew, could they see it on their Versar account already?
I don't know if they've applied it yet for
Yeah, they might not.
So I'm not sure. There is a on the Ole Miss ID Center's website, there is a place where you can like upload money to your cards. I think you have to set it up. I'm gonna see if I can find that link, but I'm not sure if you can see the meals, but let me see.
Yeah.
If I can get that link.
While Matthew's taking a look, I'll answer some of these other questions. Let's see, how do you get a parking pass? We can send you the application in the email, so you have it. But what you'll need to do is take that over to the South Campus Recreation Center. When you walk in there, it's on the left, parking is on the left. So this is South Campus Recreation Center is kind of across the highway from campus. It's a big building. I would recommend you just get it on the map and go over there, so you don't get lost on the way. Do meal plans roll over to fall, spring? No, they don't. We can send you information on the meal plan in email. So Matthew, I'm making a note. We're going to do meal plan info and permit. We've probably already sent the meal plan. I don't know, but definitely we'll do those 2 things.
The welcome to first session JumpStart email that everyone received earlier this month, and then the email reminding you about this. That email had the link to the downloadable form. It's not an online application. And I'm also adding in the ID self-service link in the chat. This is where you can check your balance on your ID once you get this set up, or you can also add money to it. Did you mention about how the Flex and Ole Miss Express dollars worked?
Hearing you mention that just made me go, oh, see, I've done a number of these meetings now and I forget which ones I've said. Go ahead, Matthew, you want to take it?
So there's 2 types of monies, so to speak, that you can add to your card. Flex dollars, which are more so for like meals and to use at vending machines on campus. And then there's the Ole Miss Express dollars, which is kind of the same idea. It's kind of like putting money on a debit card, which is your ID on this point. But it can be used for like laundry services in the dorms and other things that are non-meals.
Yep, vendors around town.
Yeah, there's certain vendors around town that will actually take Ole Miss Express. I know Papa John's will actually take Flex dollars too. So because we have a Papa John's in Minor Hall. I don't know if it's operating here in the summer, but obviously the off-campus one is.
Yeah, so you guys, your families can add more money onto your Express if you're like, I'm starving, I need more laundry done. They can add.
And to that note, if you're worried about not using up your meal plan, because I know a lot of our JumpStart students in the past, unfortunately, they don't use it up. They find places in Oxford to eat, and they like using that, and then they forget about their meal plan. The meals themselves that you can get do expire at the end of summer. However, Flex Dollars and Ole Miss Express will carry forward with you through each semester until you graduate. So if you're worried about not using meals, you can just add Flex Dollars or Ole Miss Express and know that they'll carry forward with you. So might be a great option. I will say the meals though, They do offer those at kind of a discounted rate. So like where a meal at the Rebel Market may be, if you paid out of pocket $12, if you get a meal plan, it may be like $10 or $9.
Yep.
So they do discount the meals if you do buy a meal plan.
We have a question, what time will the twice a week meetings be? That you will decide on a Monday with your community group. So we're not going to pre-assign that. The peer leaders may have like picked out some times that they would prefer, but they're going to make sure the whole group agrees to it. So you're not going to have to worry about like flagship. It won't conflict with your tutoring because you'll pick the time. And if it turns out that you get into your classes and it does, you do have a conflict with tutoring or something, that can be negotiated with your community. Textbooks can be bought here at the bookstore. They can also be bought online. A lot of students like to bargain shop. They'll go online and search for their textbooks. You want to make sure you get that ISBN number so you don't get the wrong edition, right? You don't want last year's edition if the professor wants this year's edition. But use the number that's provided in your course textbook information that you get through My Ole Miss, and then you can search and bargain hunt all you want. Community meetings will generally be during the week. The social stuff they do, like if you want to go bowling or something, that's more often on the weekend, but it might be a weeknight. It just depends. They'll kind of poll people and see what their interest is. If you do like the social activities with us, that's paid for by JumpStart. So if you're going like bowling or something, that's something that we pay for. You don't have to pay for it. Yes, if it ends before exams, then you use your Flex and Express. The textbooks are not going to, I wouldn't recommend you try to get them delivered to the dorms. Things get wonky when you do that. I'd recommend you just go get them. There's the bookstore on campus, and then we do have some places in town that sell books as well. So I would look there.
Yeah. Also to that note, Wendy, our campus, we don't actually have a U.S. Postal Office on campus, but we do have a pack mail service that you could sign up for a box with, I believe, in Crosby Hall, is it? It's either Crosby or in one of the near Northgate. Yeah. But you could sign up for a box and have that available for if any parents here want to send anything to your students. They have that available, and it's easily accessible on campus. So also note that FedEx or UPS won't deliver directly to any student resident halls or dorms, mainly because there's a lot of students in that building, and honestly, housing would have a hard time keeping track of every package that came in. That's the reason why we have pack mail.
Yes.
So better safe than sorry on that.
Somebody asked about overnight guests. That really has more to do with what your residence hall allows. That's not going to be a call that we make. Keep in mind you may have a roommate, so that would be a topic of discussion with them. But definitely you will have, just as we're going to do like a jumpstart welcome, you will have folks there in the residence hall that will get you oriented to the community standards there and the rules, and they'll talk about that. So. What else? Anything else we can answer? I hope you guys are excited. I loved being a freshman. It was so much fun. It was just exciting. And I've been at this university a few years now. I've worked at 3 different universities. And this is my favorite, which is nice that I'm working at my favorite. It's a really warm community. And I love like the hospitality of the campus, the beauty of the campus, and the faculty truly do care about the students. So that's another thing I always say to Jumpstart students. You'll hear me say it many times in the coming month, I'm sure, but ask questions of your faculty. They want to engage with you. They love teaching, and they really do want to help. So don't be afraid to ask questions early and often. You can take your parking pass over on June 1st. They won't be open on move-in day, so June 1st. But parking services obviously knows they have a bunch of people moving in this weekend that can't get their permits into them. So you should expect a grace period on June 1st because they know there's all these new people that have arrived and have not been able to get their their passes over.
Yeah. We've very well alerted them which buildings people are moving into
Yes.
so they can avoid trying to do those areas.
If you did get a ticket on June 1st, please let me know. I will help you handle it. What else? Well, Matthew and I'll hang out another few minutes if y'all want to linger, if anybody has questions they didn't get to ask. But thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for giving us your time. I'm sure you're tired. I know many people are finishing up exams. Your seniors are very busy. I got a senior too. We've got all kinds of things happening right now in our house. But I appreciate you taking time to listen. And I look forward to seeing you all around on campus. I'm hoping to stop in on your community times so I get to meet each of you in person because that's my favorite part of summer. So, all right, y'all take care. Have a good night. And if you have any questions, hang back.